Welcome to my views and news. Three news story. Firstly, viewers, we are waiting for the outcome of the ongoing Holy Synod's meeting. So far, no official announcement. We have not been able to get anything from the inside. Meeting underway. Everyone is waiting because this meeting will decide the division within the church. Will the division be crossed? Will the two sides resolve their issues, or will this split continue? Will the two sides agree to the outcome of the meeting, or will the outcome be postponed? Well, monitoring the developments, but so far no announcement, nothing has come out. Meeting reportedly ongoing these minutes. Now, three news stories. First one is from Shewa, Shewa zone of the Amhara region, where Ethiopian army is trying to talk to the Fano fighters. We saw talks between Fano fighters and Ethiopian army through elders in Gondar. Same pattern is being followed here reportedly. Secondly, Mahibere Kidusan wrote a letter to Ethiopian media authority. Mahibere Kidusan TV's license was temporarily suspended yesterday by the media authority. What is Mahibere Kidusan's position about the suspension of his license? And thirdly, protests continue about lack of fertilizers or high prices of fertilizers. Farmers in Ethiopia, especially in the Amhara region, are protesting. Why is the protests only happening in Amhara? Why not in Oromia? Firstly, viewers, in Gondar we saw that when Ethiopian army tried to catch Fano commander Mesafint, and the army was close to capturing him, locals intervened. They started supporting Mesafint. Hundreds of locals from nearby areas with their guns, they reportedly stood between Fano and Ethiopian army. So army had to resort to dialogue there. We saw more than one round of talks at Gondar Mayor City Office with participation of Gondar elders, Ethiopian army representatives. And talks were held after the people of Gondar went on strike, 2-day strike, that forced Ethiopian army to reconsider its plan of offensive on Gondar Fano. Talks were held, and their Ethiopian army agreed to withdraw to camps from Gondar city and from nearby areas. We have not seen start of any operation against Fano fighters in or near Gondar after that dialogue between Gondar elders and Ethiopian army. Ethiopian army stepped back there. It decided against operation because of people's resistance. Now, in Shewa as well, the army is trying to follow the same pattern. Ethiopian army tried to talk to Fano through elders in Shewa yesterday. Reportedly, the sources are confirming that on Sunday, talks were planned to be held in Krameda. Krameda is in North Shewa. Ethiopian army officers reached the place where talks were due to be held. Some elders reported there. Talks were indirect, not between Fano and Ethiopian army, but talks were between Ethiopian army and elders. Because we know that in Shiorobit, in other parts of North Shore, we have seen people protesting in support of Fano. They blocked roads. They tried to stop Ethiopian army's operation against Shewa Fano. Talks were held on Sunday in North Shewa at Krameda, but talks did not reach any agreement. Ethiopian army promised that no Fano fighters would be arrested. because Fano fighters are not based in cities and towns, they are in mountains, forests. Ethiopian army offered that the Fano fighters should return to the towns and they should return to their normal life, and that the military forces would not arrest them. Elders were there too, but the two sides could not reach any agreement. That is what we have learned from the area. So, Gondar model is being followed in Shewa as well. Ethiopian army could not arrest Balata Shigao. No considerable damage could be inflicted on Shewa Fano, despite heavy mobilization and deployment of Ethiopian army in Shewa. So, in all the zones of the Amhara region, Gojam, Shewa, Gondar, Fano's capabilities are intact, and recently Fano fighters have regrouped themselves, especially after the protests in the region when people took to the streets against the disbandment of Amhara Special Forces, and Amhara Special Forces former members joined Fano. We saw Fano regroup in Shewa, Gojam and Gondar. So far, no success on the part of the government to weaken Fano. Rather, we have seen that Amhara People's Front, APF, has been formed in the region, led by Skandar Naga and David Georges, who is based abroad. So, we are seeing that these hardliners, these armed factions, they are not suffering any losses. Rather, they are trying to organize themselves, and they are trying to organize themselves under central leadership. But it remains to be seen if Skandar Naga has the support of all Fano factions. Second was Mahibere Kidusan has replied to Ethiopian media authorities' decision of suspending Mahibere Kidusan's license. Mahibere Kidusan TV license was suspended temporarily yesterday after Mahibere Kidusan TV aired a statement of some Orthodox organizations. The statement of organizations was about ongoing meeting of the Holy Synod. The organizations accused some Orthodox archbishops of advancing worldly agendas. Media authority temporarily suspended Mahibere Kidusan TV license, saying that the TV license was being suspended because the TV, the news outlet violated code of conduct and its airing of statement of the organizations could lead to creation of instability. But Mahibere Kidusan today issued a statement. It sent a letter to the media authority. Mahibere Kidusan says that its duty is to preach and to keep the people informed about church affairs. And that is what it did. It aired statement of organizations, Orthodox organizations. It did not want to create any conflict. Rather, it is the duty of this television channel to keep the people well informed about church affairs. So, Mahibere Kidusan TV is not apologizing, it is countering the suspension of its license. Mahibere Kidusan might challenge the decision at a court if the license is not reinstated. Let's see. Lastly, the protests by farmers in the Amhara region are being seen. We saw a protest in Bahir a few days ago. Today, they protested in Machakal, in East Gajam zone. In Machakal, farmers protested. Farmers are protesting because fertilizer prices are very high, and in some cases, fertilizer is not available in markets. Now, I have seen protests in Bahir in Machakal, in Vollo as well, I think. Why is that there is no protest in the Oromia region? Is there price difference between Oromia and Amhara? Are fertilizers prices different in Oromia and Amhara? Some say that in Amhara, fertilizer prices are higher than in Oromia, and that is one of the causes behind these protests. I have no details, that is why. But farmers in the Amhara region, they're not happy. This is farming season, by the way. Season is very critical because if farmers are unable to farm the land, people won't have anything to eat, especially in the Amhara region. So government should intervene because farmers' livelihoods, people's needs depend upon this farming season, but fertilizer shortage, high prices in the Amhara region are becoming serious issues. I think.